What's up, guys? Today is day 7 of the 12 Drams of Christmas here on Drums and Drams. My name's Cameron, and yes, I am wearing 7 scarves in this video. I gotta keep things interesting somehow. There's not gonna be any music today because I'm like 2 days behind at this point and I'm trying to catch up, but the 12 Drams of Christmas might be more like, 13, 15 Drams of Christmas or something like that. We're gonna get this done. I promise we're gonna get this done. And in order to get this done today, I have to do 2 samples. And so we're gonna pick 2 of them out of this box. If you don't know what's going on right now, why I'm wearing 7 scarves and a Santa hat, just go back to day 1 or just unsubscribe and, go do something else with your time. And that's totally fine too. But now I'm gonna select 2 samples blindly out of this box. We're gonna mix them up real good today. Let's see, the first one is gonna be from Nick, and the second one, let's do another mix them up, is going to be from Justin. So Nick and Justin today. So let's get these poured out. Basically, doing a blind review. At the end of the blind review of each of these samples, I'll make some guesses, age, proof, type, distillery, some other things as well, anything I can guess about these pours. And then we'll find out at the end how right or how wrong I was. You guys are gonna know along the way. I'll put it along the bottom of the screen at some point, what's in each of these glasses. But for me, I'm not gonna find out till the end. So on your left is going to be glass A, on your right is going to be glass B. I'm gonna try to remember to take some notes in my notebook here, but I often forget. So let's go now to glass A, which is from Nick. Let's check this out now on the nose. All right, so glass A on the nose is a super high proof whiskey. Feels like a bourbon to me. Feels like it's got some decent age to it as well. It's really crawling up my nose, very, very spicy. And it almost feels like there's an extra layer of oak or something on the top of this, like as I'm smelling it. So underneath that layer of oak, I feel like I'm getting a lot of great fruit forward notes, but on the top of it, it does feel like there's almost this spicy buttercream layer, if that makes any sense. It smells good, and I think it's one of those whiskeys that I have to get it on my palate first and then go back to the nose in order to really pick things up, because I just think my entire olfactory system needs to be acclimated to this by taking a sip. So let's just do that very quickly, then we'll go back to the nose. Holy crap. So this is a very, very spicy whiskey. Totally like blows your palate out on the first sip. And I really like a lot of things about it, and I really dislike some other things about it. I do feel like this has been put into a toasted barrel of some sort or double oaked, because there's this kind of brighter oak note that, again, like just like on the nose, that on the palate is kind of overtaking everything. It's the first and the last thing that I taste on the sip. And there's a lot of great stuff in between. It feels like the base whiskey has good age to it, obviously good proof, and good complexity even in that base whiskey. But whatever is causing this to feel so blown out of proportion, let's just put it that way, is something that I'm not the biggest fan of. This is a very interesting whiskey though. Like I don't want to discount the fact that this feels like a very, very high quality whiskey, and it's going to appeal to some people out there, maybe even the majority of people out there. And maybe I'm just the type of person that doesn't totally jive with whatever's going on here. It really does feel like a toasted barrel type product. Some sort of, extra oak maturation, let's just put it that way. But I'm gonna do one more sip right now, and then I'll lock some guesses, and then we'll go to Justin's sample. But this is a freaky whiskey here. Here we go, cheers. Yeah, and the second sip is kind of more of the same. And I think I'm now starting to pin down what this note is, this overbearing note in the whiskey to me that makes it feel like it's been double oaked or put into a toasted barrel or some extra maturation. That top note, which I said on the nose was spicy buttercream, on the palate is like buttered popcorn. And that has just completely overtaken the whiskey. And so if it did spend time in a second barrel, I think it spent too much time in that barrel. Although there are gonna be a lot of people out there that love this profile, that love the intensity, of course. But it is feeling like it's starting to come into focus for me a little bit more, because it does have great proof and probably a decent age to whatever is, in this glass. It's still probably like a B- whiskey for me. I don't like this profile. It's just not my thing. Like I would subjectively rank this like a C- or a D. But in the case of this whiskey drinking so well and feeling like there's something to it underneath that note, I would give it the benefit of the doubt try to be more objective and say B-. So I feel like I have some guesses, you know, intact now. I just wish I could taste the base whiskey here and get rid of that upper note, because I think there are so many great dark fruit notes and, you know, cherries and chocolates and vanillas and caramels and other things going on, but this buttered popcorn thing is blowing it out of the water. So I'm gonna write down a few guesses now. I'm gonna say this is 135 proof. I think the base whiskey is probably pretty old. I'm gonna say it's 10 years old. I do think there's a finish, obviously. I think actually I'm gonna call this a toasted finish, but if it's any kind of double oak or something, I'll understand that as well. And let's think, as far as distillery and bottle goes, this is gonna be a tricky one. You know, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and make a guess, and it's one of those things that Nick and I were talking about. Like, I saw that he had this bottle, and I thought, you know, I would love to taste it, and maybe that's what he sent to me. So if I get this right, I had a little bit of an advantage to this guess, and if I get it completely wrong, then I shouldn't be making this guess at all. But this could be the Abraham Bowman, the newer bottle that came out, and I don't know anything about it. I don't know the proof, the age, or anything off the top of my head, but it feels like it could be that Abraham Bowman, Buffalo Tracy type profile, and I think that was rebarreled, but I'm honestly not sure. So that's gonna be my bottle guess on this. And if I missed anything else in the guesses, you know, that bottle guess pretty much covers it. So now it's time to move on to Justin, Glass B. Now this is a really dark color as well, so let's see what he's got in store for us. Okay, so this is just a tale of two whiskeys at this point. That first one, obviously not my jam, but this profile for Glass B, this is dark fruit, this is syrupy and rich, and it's just, this smells like a whiskey that I'm gonna really enjoy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and taste it. We'll go back to the nose, but I have to take a sip of this. Here we go, cheers. Oh, I am having some sort of religious experience with this whiskey. This is one of the best things I have tasted in a long time. I have an immediate guess on what this could be, but the level of this whiskey, just to put this in perspective for you guys watching, the level of this whiskey is like top 5 whiskey of the year type material. It's like the drinking experience of George T. Stagg. It's like the decadence of older Heaven Hill whiskey. Not necessarily the flavor profile, but the way that it approaches or kind of like activates your palate, I guess. This is amazing. Whatever this is, it's high proof, like definitely high proof. Amazing whiskey, high age. I'm not gonna make my guesses just yet. I am gonna go back to the nose very quickly. Yeah, so let me tell you what this smells like. I can give you broad stroke notes, you know, insane dark fruits, like so uber concentrated, and there's a little bit of like this prickly spice on the top and a little bit of this floral character on the top. Perfumey, like blackberry notes, you know, whatever. I can call all those out, but let me talk about what it reminds me of more specifically. It's like smelling a 15 to 18 year MGP bourbon, but at a crazy dialed up proof that doesn't really make any sense for those, because those are usually a little bit lower. So it reminds me of maybe like a Rebecca Creek 16. It also reminds me of smelling like 18 to 20 year Heaven Hill on the nose. Again, with that, it's just rich and decadent. Also reminds me of dusty George T. Stagg, 08, 09, 2016. This is amazing whiskey. I'm gonna do one final sip, we'll do the guesses, then we'll do the big reveal. This is just absolutely insane. I don't know what else to say about it. I think the proof on this is just about as high as glass number 1. I'm gonna say proof on here is 133. So let me make sure I write this down. So 133 proof. I think the age on this is high. I think it's higher than glass 1 by a decent bit. I'm gonna say this is 16 or 17. Let's say this is 16 years old. It's a bourbon, it's not finished. And my guess, because of the decadence of this guess won't sound right. But to those that have tried some of these bottles, this might track a little bit more. And there's one note as far as the oak goes on this whiskey, like the aged oak note, that gets a little bit funky, a little bit like cheesy almost. I think this is a Four Roses, an old Four Roses. I think this is an old single barrel of Four Roses. If I had to guess, that's one of those Father's Day single barrels that came out this year. Let's do the big reveal now. Give me a second to find their reveal cards in here, then we'll be right back. All right, so we're gonna do the reveal for Glass A first. This is the one from Nick. And remember, I said 135 proof, 10 years old, finished in some sort of American oak. I think this is maybe that Abraham Bowman, whatever the new release is called. So let's see what we've got here. And there we go. So I had a little advantage on this, but it is the Bowman limited edition American oak, 12 and a half year, 135 proof. So I said 135, I said 10 years, it's 12 and a half. It's kind of hard to judge the age because that finishing barrel is so strong. Now it says American oak, and so that to me means it's probably rebarreled into some sort of American oak, but I don't know if it's toasted or if it's charred. I'm not exactly sure. I will put that on the screen if I can find that out. Hey guys, so I just wanted to jump in here for a second. I know I took the scarves off. I got done recording the video, but I got on Google and I was trying to find out if this Abraham Bowman, because it's called American oak, if it was actually put back into, you know, a second barrel or anything like that. And I could not find a definitive answer just Googling this, looking at the press release, looking at their website. I do find it odd that they're not saying that this was put into a second barrel when, if you smell or taste this, you know that this smells and tastes like a toasted barrel product. But if they're just calling it American oak, maybe they're not highlighting the fact that it was rebarreled, even if it was. I don't know, but if this was not rebarreled, I will be very shocked. I would probably lay some money on the line to take a bet on the fact that this was put into some secondary barrel. But the press release doesn't say too much about this, so I'm curious. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any idea. And again, I'll update the description of this video. But anyways, let's get back to the video now. Sorry to interrupt. Again, not my profile. It will be for somebody, but it's just not really my thing. And now let's go on to Justin's reveal. I got to get out the knife for this one. On this teeny little reveal card that he has really taped up very well. Let's see what Justin has in store for us. Okay, there we go. So this is Four Roses Father's Day. Listen, I'm 2 for 2 on these. This was a really good episode. Four Roses Father's Day. This is a 16-year OESV, 135.4 proof. I said 133, so I'm very close on proof. Age, 16 years. I said 16 years. Bourbon, no finish, all that stuff. For those of you curious, this is RN-63-6K. I gotta get one of those. That is a top 5, if not top 3, if not top 2 kind of whiskey for the year. That is amazing whiskey, and definitely my preference of the two. But I wanna say thank you to Nick, thank you to Justin. Let me know how I did, guys, in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. We'll bring the music back soon, but I gotta get caught up on this series. So I'm gonna wrap up with the final sip of this Four Roses Father's Day. Cheers, and I'll see you soon here on Drums and Drams.